Hi guys, it's Belle here, and today's little project that I wanted to share with you is a mini 3-pocket letter. I know it's November, but I'm not quite ready to give up the kind of grungy, slightly spooky vibes just yet. And I had lots of my Tim Holtz stuff out. And if you're new here, hello and welcome. But some of you may have heard me say that I used to make pocket letters a lot. I'd always sort of done card making and scrapbooking and things, but when I really got into crafting as a community, because I always did those things kind of on my own, the first kind of craft community I became involved with was pocket letters. Years ago now, and they were still a really new thing, and I loved them. I made so many pocket letters, but I don't really make them that often anymore. In fact, I basically only maybe make one a year, and not even for a swap. So I thought, let's use up some of the Tim Holtz scraps that I've got left over from doing the Oddtober daily, and let's make a pocket letter. Now, I really like the 3-pocket ones because they're quick and easy to make. And, you know, they're quick and easy to make. And they're also just fun. And with the price of postage, it's actually quite economical to send because you can send them in an envelope rather than, you know, something padded. I mean, you can send a large pocket letter in an envelope, but if you're doing international, I just feel like sometimes that's not the way to go because they can get ruined. So I'm just pulling out a lot of scraps. I want to make, so normally the size is about 3.5 by 2.5-ish. And I want to pick a paper that's going to be the main bit of the background. So I think we'll have one of these. We're definitely going to have part of that one. Yeah, I wanted to have a slightly Tim Holtz grungy style, but without it necessarily just being Halloweeny, although Halloween's always a good thing, so it's not a problem if it has a little touch of the Halloween. I feel like those three will work well together. So let's get them cut to size. So yeah, 3.5-ish. It's actually a little bit over, but I've always done 3.5 by 2.5, although that seems super small. Now I'm wondering if it's 3 3/4. I mean, we've already cut this piece. So do you know what? We're going to do 3.5 by 2.5. That's what we're going to do. Yeah, I'd love to know down below if you ever made pocket letters. I used to love them. And if you have watched the Crafty Coven Halloween Advent, we all actually met on a pocket letter site. So, you know, oh my goodness, are you actually kidding me? There's been no noise all day, and I sit down to film and it sounds like he's going to start drilling. Yay me. So anyway, yeah, I just wasn't quite ready to let the grungy creep go just yet. I do have another project that I'm thinking of for next week that will keep a little bit of the spook going too. And then for those of you who like Christmas, I will be moving into Christmas, into the festive. Right now I've still got all my Halloween spooky decks up, and yeah, just not ready to let it go just yet because I enjoyed it so much and it seemed to fly by. Now the thing with pocket letters is they can be a little, you have to be careful. These are just like they're just poly pocket kind of things. You often can find them on Amazon, eBay, places like that. People keep their card collections, you know, like baseball cards or Pokemon cards can be kept in these. So I used to have loads of them. And I used to buy packs of about 100 at a time. But these are still left over from my pocket letter days. And so I thought, let's use some up. Now, I wanted to have like almost a Franken paper feel to it. So I have some scraps. I don't want to use all the same scraps. I have a few scraps that I pulled out. I want to put those to the side, and that one. And I just want to kind of build up just a little base of Franken paper. If you're not sure what that is, it's basically where you take bits of paper and you stitch them together. And, oh, rose there. That's fun. So I have this map. That might go better on this one, actually. And we're just going to place them. I'm not going to think too much about it. I don't even know what I'm kind of going to do around it. Yeah, I'm not sure yet. I feel like I want that there. That's fun. Let's make it an even smaller scrap, because that's what we do here in the craft world. But yeah, I'd love to know if you did pocket letters. They were a huge thing at one point. They were the trend. And yeah, I just really enjoyed making pocket letters. But as with all things, you then find something new. And my something new was journals. And once I started making journals, I kind of stopped making a lot of pocket letters. Yeah. Although, funny enough, the person who encouraged me to make journals, junk journals, I actually also met on the pocket letter site. Hello, Sue, if you're watching. I know you sometimes do. So, yeah, that's a funny little aside. Let's ink that. So yeah, I just kind of want to do this. I'm also going to pull in some of the curiosity little bits that I love to use at all times. So are we surprised that I'm going to pull it in? Let's be honest, no, we're not. Yeah. So I'm just kind of, as you can see, just laying some little pieces, using up some scraps. This is another great scrap busting tip thing to do. Oh, let's bring in some of the orange. I like that. Do I want it even longer so it kind of cuts across the whole thing? I don't think I want it across the whole thing, so we're going to just trim that bit. But there we go. Why not? I really don't know where these are going. I've got no specific direction in my mind. We're just crafting. We're just having a bit of playful fun whilst we are... Now let's work on this one. I do have some others over here. Obviously they're bigger. I do love the Spidey web. Spidey web, Spidey. I do have, I have this one. That's one of my favourite papers. This one, the Tim Holtz one there. I don't know why. It just is. I really like it. So I'm going to cut this one first, actually. And I might have this as a more, not square. It's still kind of rectangular, but it's smaller than some of these. Yeah, I just feel like swaps are getting to the point where, Happy Mail swaps, where it's really Do I want that one more in the middle? I want this down here too, but then that one's down here. Shall we do them all down at the bottom, and then I'm not stressing so much? Yeah, if you're trying to do international swaps, the postage is honestly ridiculous now. I mean, it was expensive enough when I used to do my pocket letter swaps to send, especially as I tended to overfill my pocket letters and then send extra goodies, because I just love sending happy mail. It's just something I've always loved doing, and that I really kind of miss now that I don't do it. I want some of this on here. I do. Yeah, so I used to love sort of sharing and doing all that kind of thing. Especially when you build up then a rapport with someone. I met some great people when I was making pocket letters, really, really great people who really did. I mean, like Anna and Sarah and that, become what will be lifelong friends. That's not right. That's not right. And yeah, it was just such a lovely time. But I did mostly, a lot were international swaps, because the majority of people on the pocket letter site, I know what's wrong, this is too long too, were international, which is understandable. But it just became expensive, especially with the amount I was doing. I was sending probably a pocket letter a week at one point. And it just became expensive, and yeah, and then when you make friends, you sort of start swapping amongst yourselves a bit more. So I stopped doing quite so many swaps. Okay, I like that way. Something was bothering me, and now I've worked out what it is. So what I'm going to do is, now you don't have to stitch these, guys. You really, really don't. Am I going to stitch? I can hear you all out there going, of course you are, Belle. Of course I am. You don't have to. At this point, if you're not going to stitch, I would suggest gluing everything really well in place. I like the look of stitching, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go do that, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so I kind of changed up some of the stitching. Some of it's got zigzag and some of it's straight, and what I'm loving is I'm loving the different stitches and then how the threads are left. And I realised as I was talking about all this that I'm just talking about pocket letters as if you all know what a pocket letter is. And to be honest, I'm sure there's lots of you out there who do know, because they've been around quite a while. But there'll also be some of you out there who don't know what a pocket letter is. So a pocket letter, they were created supposedly by Jeanette, or they were created by Jeanette Lane, I believe it is. She's sort of credited with creating the idea, and it was actually on her pocket letter site that I actually started swapping pocket letters as well. And I can't quite remember when she created them, but the whole idea is that you make something creative and crafty with these little cards, a bit like ATCs really, because these came slightly after the ATC kind of swap craze started. And then she what you would do with a pocket letter is, because there are pockets in it, often you would put craft items, paper clips, funny enough, often sticky notes. I never quite understood that one, but that was a really popular thing to put in the back of pocket letters. And then usually also a tea bag, which I also found interesting, considering most people who were swapping didn't necessarily drink tea, but tea bags, sticky notes, paper clips, little craft items, and hence the name, a letter. You would actually write a letter and you would tuck it behind one of your pockets. So, pocket letters. We're going to do this slightly creepy. I feel like I want her over here actually, because she looks like she could have a... I want this to kind of be a creepy family. He looks like he's got his hand on there, and here's their daughter in the middle, like a Victorian Gothic family. So that was the idea for pocket letters, that, yeah, you would swap and put a little letter so that you could make a pen pal. It was basically pen pals. And it was a lot of fun. And you could get more and more creative. And obviously, if you'd swapped with someone a few times, you would know what they like or what they used. I often used to try and send things that I thought would be really useful to the person that they'd really enjoy. Let's put a 13 down there, shall we? And we would also do like birthday pocket letters. I loved doing that. So there was a group of us on there who, if you wanted a pocket letter on your birthday, you could put like your name and address and your favourite things and things like that. And then we could choose when and how often we wanted to send a pocket letter. So some people might have only received 2 pocket letters if people were busy that month. Some people could have received 3 or 4. We also had the random act of kindness pocket letter. So you could put your name and address in there again, everything private, obviously. And then whenever someone felt like sending one, you just randomly picked someone you wanted to send a pocket letter to, basically. I'm just building up some layers. I feel like we need fabric on here, and I'm just realizing I may not have a lot of fabric nearby because I just put away a lot of my fabric scraps. Oh, I had this little piece. I feel like I'm going to want more of this. I may have to go into my fabric scraps after putting them away. Yeah, so random act of kindness ones, you could just send one randomly to a person. I always like doing that too. I think it's always fun receiving pocket happy mail, but it's really fun gifting it as well. And pocket letters were so unique, and I met people from all over the world doing the swaps, some of which I am still in contact with. And yeah, so they were just a fun way to send happy mail. They were like a collection of ATCs, a letter, have a cup of tea. Sometimes actually someone would send me some treats from their country as well. And yeah, it was just fun. I often used to put, especially if it was my first time swapping with someone and they were international, I would also include in my little package a postcard of the UK and one sort of from where I lived. So that was always fun as well, because I also received quite a collection of postcards over the years. And yeah, it was just a really nice... I've got to have some red on here. I don't have any red yet, and I really feel like I need some red for external use only. Yes, we do. So that is what a pocket letter was. It was a way of sending happy mail really creatively. And I did that for quite a number of years. And the site changed over time. In good ways. I'm not saying it wasn't a good way, but I'm just saying it changed over time. And then I got into journal making. So I decided that I wasn't going to do pocket letters anymore. But who knows? Maybe the trend will start up again. I mean, it would be fun. I'm literally just layering some pieces. I'm just looking at bits and bobs and thinking, oh, what would go nice there? What would go nice there? I've just realised I've also got my scrap box under my table. So I'm going to grab that and see what's in the scrap box. That maybe, I feel like it needs more fabric and more stitching. I just knocked you, I'm sorry. But that could just be me because I'm slightly obsessed with fabric and stitching. Don't know if there's anything realistically in here. Oh, wouldn't it have been fun? Oh, let's get some corrugated out. Wouldn't it have been fun to have, maybe get that out too. What's the word I'm looking for? Something I just saw. Oh, to put some tea bag like in an area to Mod Podge some tea bag. That would have been fun. Realistically, I still could do it. There's nothing stopping me. But I'm trying not to do too much of any of that. I'm going to grab that. Oh, we've got some gold there. I don't know if I'll use some gold stitching, but if I pull it out, we'll have the chance to play with it and then see. I've got some vintage ledger there too. Just pulling out some scraps. Oh, I like that one. I don't know if that's too creamy white for what I'm going for, but we're going to see. Let's pull out, as if I haven't got enough paper scraps on the table, I just go and pull out another one. Oh, we got some flocked paper there. Oh, got some of this. That's all you can hear. Oh, what's this? What's this? I actually shouldn't say that because my cat might come running. Because they used to be going, what is it? And they normally come running to see what I've got. So let's not do that, shall we? Sorry, I'm just putting that under the table. So sorry if that knocked you. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the pieces. I really love this flocked one. I really want to put this somewhere. I don't know why, but I do. I do know why. It's because it's textured. I love texture. So yeah, I would love to know if down below if you guys have done pocket letter swaps. Do you still do them? What was your favourite thing? Have you never done one but they sound intriguing? Let me know your thoughts because I like to hear them. I want this, but I don't know if I do now that I'm looking at it. Okay, let's put that to the side and come back to it, shall we? Yeah, I had this lovely kind of embossed flower on this shiny fabric. And I know it's shiny, so it kind of... does it go with the grunge look? It will as soon as I actually grunge it. We'll add some black soot. And... realistically, I've already started thinking about my craft goals for next year because we're getting to that time of the year, aren't we, guys? Where has it gone to? Where has it? I feel like that's the lament of everyone. Every year, it just seems to get busier and go quicker every single year. It's annoying. So, I feel like that might go there. Or do we want it down here? I don't know. I've got bits and none of them so far are screaming at me. Pick me, pick me. I do like that. It would cover up the franken paper at the bottom, but I actually don't mind. And yeah, this year, was the first year that I realistically made some craft goals. And I know not everyone likes to make resolutions, goals, those kind of things, but I like to think of it as make some aims in all areas of your life that you may want to work on. And I think as crafters, this year, I really enjoyed making some goals for myself, some craft goals, because a lot of us go, oh, well, I've got the goal to do such and such. Look at this shiny. Is that picking up? I don't know if it is. This is gold thread on tea stain paper. And yeah, a lot of us say, well, I've got these craft goals, but we may not actively work towards them. They're kind of in our head. But I'm much more of a let's plan and make a plan of action person. That's just how my brain works. And so for me, I like to write them down, revisit them, think about them as the year goes through. And then, yeah, so I thought this year, why not, building up a lot of hair layers, why not make some craft goals and work towards them? And you know what? I'm going to be honest, guys. I am so glad I did, because one of my main craft goals this year was to just say yes to things that I was interested in and to focus on learning some new techniques and doing some challenges and things that I'd never done before. I have mainly on this channel, which you will have seen, done specific challenges, like every year I do Oddtober and things like that. But mainly it was journals and the odd little other video, but mainly it was journals. And this year I was like, no, we're going to put the journals to one side for a little while and we're going to work on other crafts. And I've completely covered that orange up now, haven't I? But do you know what? It doesn't matter. We're going to work on other crafts and we're going to enjoy things and doing things that I've never done before. And I started the month off, the year off, we're doing Junk Journal January, which I've never done before. And I've always been like, oh, I've got this journal to make, or I've got that journal to make. So for now, Junk Journal January will, maybe I will or won't have time. And this year I've done so many different things. I've tried new ideas. I've done Junk Journal January, then I did Junk Journal July, but before that I did Creep on June. And that was, when I tell you that was last minute, I mean last minute. It was, I think, 2 days before the challenge started. Last minute, guys. And I was just like, oh, what's this? Let me have a go. And well, I'm so pleased I did, because that led to so many blessings that were extremely unexpected. I feel like we need one on here now too, just to tie them in. That, yeah, I'm so pleased I did that. And I would never normally have done that, because I just never really gave myself time to do things. It was always working on a journal and maybe a few other little bits and pieces. And journals take me a long time, and they take up, I'm sorry for the shadows, guys, but it's the way it is. They take up a lot of my brain space when I'm working on them. I can't just get a journal done in a week. It's just not how my brain works. And so I just decided this year to put the journals aside for a little while to work on maybe some other things. And I'm so pleased I did. And I've had so much fun this year. And I've tried things that I've just not done before. And I've also picked up my cross stitching. Now, again, I used to cross stitch all the time. And I'm going to be honest, I had big plans for this year for my cross stitch. And it hasn't come to fruition, if I'm honest. I just have not got as much cross stitch done that I was planning on originally. But I have been cross stitching, and considering I'd barely cross stitched in a couple of years, I'm just pleased with the fact that I did actually get some cross stitch completed. I'm wondering about up here actually for him. No, we're kind of building up in these corners, so let's just go for it. So I have been thinking about my goals, craft goals for next year, and I've already this year started working on using up what I've got in my stash. And realistically really thinking about what I am purchasing. Now she needs some corrugated. They've got to match. Well, they do with their my creation. Yeah, using up what I've got and playing with things that I've had for ages that I just haven't used. And that was part of my goal this year, to do that. And I'm so glad that I did, but I don't feel like I've done it enough. I feel like... And he's got fabric and the other two haven't. So let's also pull in some fabric, shall we? I feel like I could have done a lot more focus on the using some of my tools and things. So I want to continue that because I've got a lot of stuff, a lot of which I just don't use anymore. Because again, it was for certain things like pocket letters. So it would be fun to look at how I can use some of those bits and pieces up in other ways. But also it'll just be fun to actually maybe do some of those old things that I used to do, like pocket letters. So that was the inspiration behind this. We've still got a couple of weeks left. Well, what have we got? About 6 weeks, something like that left to the end of the year. Something like that, maybe 7. Actually, it's probably closer to 8. Let's not get bogged down in detail. But yes, I've still got, let's say, a couple of months left. So I've still got time to go through and look at what I haven't used. I'm not liking her now. I'm not liking that there. I'm just not liking it. I am wondering if I'm going to cover that up. Let's move you over here because I think, you've already got corrugated. That's not going to work, is it? Let's use instead, although she needs some corrugated, let's use one of the little snippety things like the gentleman over there has. Or let's have a look at what we've got in here. Like I always like the eye. I always like that. I'm trying to work out, I think there's an even smaller one than that might work better on here. So yes, I'm trying to use things up and I'm trying to just play with my stash. You know, why not? Maybe there isn't. I swear there's a smaller one in here, but so far all I'm seeing is the large eye. Literally all I'm seeing. Get it? Sorry. Bad pun. Not even a pun, actually. Okay, well, we're going to have the large eye then, aren't we? That's what we're going to do. So I'd love to know if you guys, whether you make craft goals or not, how do you go about that? I like to make them just because, as I said, I'm quite goal oriented in that way. Let's just put it there, maybe behind her a little bit. And it also means I can make a plan of action. Junk Journal January and Junk Journal July are perfect. I find them perfect for really using up bits in your stash and your scraps, as well as taking that opportunity to I really want to pull this up. I don't think it's going to come up. This glue really sticks well. Do you know what? Let's just tear it off then. Let's just, oh, it has come up a little bit. Where did that piece of fabric go to? There it is. Yeah, they're brilliant for just trying and playing and having fun. Same with the Marguerite Miller. I find it's such a great way to try things and to use up bits of my stash that I realistically wouldn't use. I mean, pink's not my colour. And yet I've done quite a few of the Marguerite Miller index cards with pink and white. I've got some of those bits in my stash. And my way of looking at it is use them or get rid of them. So I want to use them just in case. Do we want to cut her feet off? I mean, we could have her hiding behind it, couldn't we? Yeah, why not? Sorry, young lady. So yeah, I'm just building up. I know I'm not explaining a lot of what I'm doing. I'm literally just building things. But it's just nice to sometimes do that and have a little bit of a chat at the same time. I know not everyone likes chatting videos. I know that. I might put that across there. I quite like that on there. But there we go. There's not a lot I could do about that. Do I want to bring in a tad of purple? I haven't got purple anywhere else, so no, I don't want to do that at all. I'm looking for another bug, actually. Ugh, I kind of love that bug. Sorry if I've just knocked you. I want him on there, but I kind of love this bug. She's got a bug here, so that's why I've suddenly been thought, oh, I'd like that bug on there too. But obviously that means I need to try and find one for the mum. And I'm not being funny, but she's being my struggle at the moment to really think of things for. Things don't seem to be blending with her. And I may not have another bug, but what I do have, I mean, if we don't need another bug, realistically, I could do without it. But I have these. I rarely use these. Again, I bought them and I don't use them. So let's rectify that possibly. I thought there was one in here that has a bug on it. I'm sure there is. We've got bug bits. But I thought there was one with an actual... Ah, there we go. Little ladybird. I'm going to cut that out and add that onto the mum's one. That's what I'm going to do. So, yes. Love to know what yours are. And I'm already thinking about what mine could be for next year. And it's definitely going to be still saying yes to what I want to make. Still having a go at things that I want to have a go at. And still, I might put that on top of the girl actually. Do you know what? Let's stick the girl down. Sorry. Oh, I feel so bad. I'm going to cut your feet off. Ah, apologies. And still using up my stash. I really want to focus on that. I really want to streamline my crafting space because I don't have a lot of space and I'm just not using certain things because they're hidden in drawers and stuff. And I tidy and I organise and then I craft. So the organisation becomes disorganisation. So it's just a thing. We all do it. I do try and tidy up after every single project that I do and put things away, but sometimes it just doesn't go where I want it to go. And sometimes it's quicker to just put them roughly somewhere and think, I'll come back to that when I have more time, when I'm in between projects. So yeah. I may do a video on this next year. I don't know if anyone wants to see that. I mean, it's not the kind of thing you often see on craft channels, is it? Here's my crafting goals for the year. But I may do one. I may do a mini one. Because I just think it's a good idea. And I want to encourage... Oh, that would have been great. Can I bring this up at all? Sorry, lady. Right, a little bit. I can pull it up just a little bit. Yeah, and you can see I'm not even really thinking about what I'm doing here. I'm just putting things and it's coming together as I'm doing it. So I don't know how useful this video is for you all. And it is a rather chatty one. But there we go. And no, I'm not going to have to put an eyeball and everything. Part of me would like to, but I'm not going to. I did have these little pieces that I was like, oh, Belle, you need to add those. And what did I end up adding instead? These bits. And now I'm looking at it, it should have been these realistically. Oh my gosh, I've stuck her down. listen to the ripping of the paper. So, actually, that would go more over there. We're going to stick that on there. Just adapt, cover things up. You might be going, Belle, why? Why would you do that? Why would you cover up something you'd put down? Do you know why, guys? Because it's a scrap and it's not a big deal. That's why. Yeah. So I may do a video. I don't know. Leave a comment below if you'd be interested. I've already basically told you a little bit. So, is it worth it? I don't know. But if you want to see one, when I've finalised all the goals and my cross-stitch projects, that's the thing I was doing the other day, actually. I was reorganising my cross-stitch box, because where I have been doing some projects, I also had put aside some of my threads for other projects that I wanted to do, but just didn't get around to. So I had all these little bags, pouches, where all my different threads were. And that was just annoying, was the word. And so my boxes where I keep all my threads organised by number were, well, I want to say all over the place, basically. And so why do I stick things and not think about it? And so I went through all of those, put everything where they were, organised all my threads, all my fabrics, everything in one place, and then started thinking about realistically what I really want to finish, because there's projects I started this year that I have not completed. I have not cross-stitched as much as I wanted, and it's just time to really focus on that. So I did organise that, actually. We're going to stick Monsieur down now. That's what we're going to do. So that section's all done, and my threads for my sewing machine were sorted out, because again, they keep getting put places, and then I'm like, I'm pretty sure I have a black thread, but no, now I've gone and brought another one because I can't find the one I was looking for. We could cover part of this up. We've got this tiny scrap. We could just use that, couldn't we? We could just use her tiny scrap, but I'm wondering if I want more than that. And realistically, I think I do. So yes, that's what I need to focus on at the moment. I really need to get things reduced, really well organised, and used up. In amongst, you know, just general life things that get in the way of our crafting time. I'm sorry, I can't do that. I'm busy organising my craft stash. So, I mean, I'm one of those people, I do find joy in it. I know not everyone does, but I love to organise. So I find a lot of joy in the process, but I also find it very overwhelming and that's stressful when I'm trying to work out where everything, oh, haven't popped that out, where everything goes. And I have so many little scraps of paper, guys, so many. I'm sure we all have tiny scraps. And I'm honestly just thinking, do I just throw a lot of it away? Recycle, not throw, but recycle a lot of it away and then start from scratch, because I have so many, and realistically I'm not pulling them out to use as often as I should. I'm looking at this and I really hate it. That needs something over it. That's what that needs. Wondering about bringing in another little thing, or a dainty one of these. These are always my go-to. I love these. I really do. That's too much the same colour. Oh, we have the long one. The long one might be fun because we've got another long one on there. So that might be fun across, maybe across there. That's quite good. Quite like that. So that's the winning one at the moment, although I found a smaller one and it's a slightly different colour. I kind of like that. Do you know the one thing though? She hasn't really got any red on her. And the other two, this has more red, but he has a touch of red on the beetle and she doesn't really have red. So I am wondering about trying to find one that's got a touch of red. I see red there. What are you? There we go. Right, I can cut this down to size, which I'm going to do. So I think this is actually cut off another piece, which is fine. Which piece do I want? The smaller piece or the longer piece? I could actually put it under here. That would be better. Right, let's go for that. Yeah. Do I just throw them all away, recycle them all and start from scratch? The thing is, when I then start going through them, the scraps of paper, I'm like, oh, but that's such a good scrap and that's such a good scrap. So I may have to think about a different way of placing them in my craft area, it's my living room, before, so I get to use them next year. Oh, do you know what I also pulled in? I pulled in some of my homemade tape. I thought this might look quite good on here too. I almost forgot about it. Am I doing a lot? Yes. Do I usually? Yes. It is what it is. So I want that kind of at an angle. I don't normally do angles. They normally stress me out. But we're going to do an angle on this one. Ugh, that's... Right, we're going to do that. What one do we want on here? Maybe a longer one. I like ripping them because then you get an interesting shape. I put that along here to just bring in some of that tape. It might actually have gone better. Quick before it sticks. It might have gone better over here. Anyway, it's a very chatty video today. Bit of fun, bit of crafting, bit of chat. It's a bit of a craft with me one. That wasn't the intention at the beginning, but it is now. We roll with it. Right, let's move that over there. I am sorry for the shadows. It's so dark here now. And unfortunately, that means having to play with lights. So I apologise if you don't like the shadows. I'm doing the best I can. They look a lot brighter on camera, I'm realising, than they do here in front of me, which is interesting to say the least. Now I also have, there's a lot of words already on here, but I do have some words because I'm truly trying to use these up. Who, which and that. Because as you can see, I've got very few left on here now. And I want to use them. Sorry, I've gone quiet. Who, which and that I quite like, but I don't know if I want that one. Let's use Amelia Hardy Proprietus, because I don't really use that often. And I could just use the word proprietus. Proprietus. And we could have that on here. Even down here. Do I want the Amelia Hardy instead? I quite like that up there, but I feel like it would work better down there. Amelia Hardy or Proprietus. I wanted the Proprietus one, but the Amelia Hardy one stands out more, so we're going to have that. And I'm thinking these are just a family of strange and kooky people selling interesting concoctions in their shop. So we have the creepy mother. She may not be creepy. But, you know. And then we have opened day and night. I want that one. Yeah, I have so many of them Tim Holtz sticker sheet words, and I always use the same ones time and time again. And realistically, I want to change that. So I'm trying to use this sheet up. Have I creeped into the other sheets? Of course I have. But for projects like this, I'm trying to... I wanted to put That's Dreadful just because it made me think of, you know, let's just put it, medicine. You know when you're taking medicine and you're like, oh, that's awful. So as they run an apothecary, a Victorian apothecary, as they run one of those, I kind of want it to say, that's dreadful, because it kind of works. Do we think? We do. I kind of wanted that down here. Something's missing down there and I don't know what, so I'm gonna work on that. I think something needs to be possibly there, possibly not. Maybe I'm just thinking in my head that it does and I could walk away from it. Let's now, where on earth is the pocket letters on? Sorry for the glare. Let's put these in their pocket letter. I don't know, I could use texture paste and all sorts on here, but I'm trying to not. So we have, look at all the threads. Aren't they fun? Sorry for the glare. But isn't that fun with the threads? And then that would be the back of it where you would put your stuff. Now, I do need to grab some washi. Okay, so normally what you would do in a pocket letter is you would have this little bit here. And normally you would then use washi along this to give it a detail, some interest. But I was just looking and I was thinking, why don't we add in, normally because obviously you've got these holes, so you would put the washi, punch the holes, and then they could go in a folder. But we're not doing that because obviously it's me. But I have some of these trims and I was just wondering about adding some trim instead to make it look super cute and gothic. I really want to use this one, but I just don't think it matches. I think this one goes quite well. I do really love this one. It's one of my favorite trims. It is a favorite. Oh, I like them both. I'm just tempted by this one because it's my favorite. No, we're going to use the other one. That's what we're going to do. Stop playing around, Belle. Make up your mind. Do, do, do. Oh, yes. Now I am going to stitch that on there, and I'm sure I've still got a little bit of this as well, which we have used. And whether I want to put a little bit of this on here too. Which obviously now I've seen it, I do. So I'm going to go stitch that and then I'll show you. Okay, before I actually show you what the stitching looked like, which, by the way, I love, I realised I would actually really like some splatters on here. It was still looking very, I want to say, one-dimensional. So, yeah, I feel like I want some splatters on here. I'm definitely going to do some black, but I have a feeling I might want to add a teeny bit of gold, and I'm going to use my Winsor Newton inks because they give me a finer splatter. My problem is I don't have my paint palette to do the splattering, to add the ink to, so I'm going to try and add it to the lid because there's some in the lid anyway. It's on my table. And also we don't need tons of splatters. It's on the table. Let me wash that off. It will wash. Let me put this on here. Obviously, if I had my paint palette, this would be a lot easier, but I don't. So we're making do with how we can. We adapt, we move forward, we craft. The other thing about the Winsor Newton is sometimes it dries. Let's get this glove on properly, shall we? Sometimes it dries with a slight shine, which I kind of like. Okay, let's put that one over here. And I've got the gold, and I don't use the gold that often, even though I really like it. And we've still got black on our paintbrush. But again, just going to do what we can do. These gloves just won't play today. I think I need to get some new ones. These are covered. These are literally covered. It's a bit of a darker gold because obviously it's mixing with the black ink that's on the brush. Let me get my other one. Okay, so I have my other splatter brush. Trying to get the gold. It's really, I'm mixing this, by the way, guys. It's now on my table. Yay! Got to get that dried. That's better. That's got more of a gold splattering, which is what we want. And this is a smaller splatter brush too, so that does help. Now it's going to take a while for it to dry on my peoples because they have a shiny background, but we're going to leave that to dry and then we're going to look at the completed project. So those have dried and I got a lot on their clothes, but I really rather like it. It gives it this kind of mold kind of effect, which I think adds to the grunginess of it all. And I realised one of the things I didn't do, and I'm hoping this pen works, is go around the words, because we know I like to do that, where I go around the word, the phrase a little bit in my black pen, just to help it stand out a smidge. It just makes me laugh. That's dreadful, sir. What is in this unholy concoction that thou hast given me? Why, it helps make you feel better. Anyway, I've added the stitching. I also added some loose threads. We knew it was going to happen. They literally sit in a bowl by my sewing machine. When I'm trimming all the threads off my projects, there's a little bowl right beside my sewing machine that all the loose thread goes into. And then every time I'm over there stitching, I'm like, oh, I've got quite a collection. Now let's add some loose threads to this project. And funny enough, the ink actually went onto the tape as well and dried on it, and I wasn't quite expecting that, so that was interesting to note. But we have our finished pocket letter. Well, it hasn't got any goodies in it, but it's our finished pocket. I'm loving these threads. It reminds me of their dresses. So I'm sorry for the glare. I'm trying to get it in a way that it won't glare. But there is our pocket letter, guys. This has been quite the we try and get it where it's not glaring, but it's not working very well. Let me bring you down. That hasn't helped at all with the glare. Let me put my finger over it. This has been quite a chatty, there we go, quite a chatty project. But I hope you've enjoyed it. If you've never made pocket letters before, I hope you've been inspired to maybe give one a go, even if it's just for you, just to give a go something new. And if you have made pocket letters before, I hope you've enjoyed seeing me make one. I'm using up some of my Tim Holtz scraps, some of my other little scrappy bits, and still with that kind of grungy feel, not quite Halloweeny, kind of moving into Victorian Gothic, I think. I don't know. It could probably do with some stitching on here as well, like hand stitching, but we're going to walk away from it and call it done. And yes, I'd put a little letter in here and a little tea and then some little goodies in there if I was to send this as happy mail. So that's it for now, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this one. I really hope you didn't mind my long chatty rambles. If you're not new here, you're quite used to me rambling by now. But anyway, please do like and subscribe if you haven't already. I was just thinking a bead would be great to hang off here as well, wouldn't it? Walk away, Belle, because I don't think I have any beads next to me. Walk away. Yes, please do like and subscribe if you haven't already. I really appreciate it, and I'll be back again soon with another video. Until next time, guys, wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having lots and lots of crafty fun. Bye for now.